Greetings. Today the moon is in Leo, so we step into the energy of drama and self-expression, creativity. Leo needs to move, it needs to be seen, it wants an audience. And so we've got that mood of the day, right? The moon is the mood of the day. So the Leo energy kind of shaping the vibe and shaping also our needs for today and what is going to highlight our best self-care activities. So that's what we talk about here in this YouTube channel is self-care. So we'll look at the Leo moon. I'm also going to continue the trend I have begun in taking a look at another component of the upcoming solar eclipse in Virgo. That will be on Sunday, September 21st. So each day we're kind of looking at one component of this fascinating and complex energy dynamic of the upcoming eclipse and what makes it so potent and how we can think about it at these deeper levels to really break down the energies that are at play. So I think today we're going to look at some YODS, including the actions of Mars and Venus and their role in connecting to outer planets in the chart of the upcoming solar eclipse at 29 degrees Virgo coming up on Sunday. Thanks for being here. I'm Marina Orms here with your Astro Vibe for Wednesday, September 17th. So we do have that Leo moon, first of all, and Leo is before Virgo, right? So we're only a very few days away now from that exact solar eclipse. Not that the exact moment of the solar eclipse is really where we should be focusing our attention because really we're feeling it already. So the days leading up to the eclipse, the days following the eclipse, even the weeks and months following this eclipse, even for years, it could have an impact that something we remember, something that was significant that changed or is in the process of changing around this time, around the eclipse energies. And of course, we are now post Pisces lunar eclipse. So we're right now between two eclipses, and that lunar eclipse in Pisces also very, very potent. We also have the upcoming solar eclipse in Virgo being the second of two new moons in Virgo. The first one was at the very beginning of Virgo, and this one coming up will be at the very end at 29 degrees Virgo. So this is episode or installment number 3 in looking at the upcoming solar eclipse. So coming back to today and the mood of the day, Leo moon, Leo, and the moon is, right? It's getting smaller each day as we head toward the new moon when the moon disappears. So we're in that waning crescent phase of the moon where we are letting go. We are in the process in the current moon cycle of releasing, of shedding old skins, old identities, old ways of being in preparation for beginning a new cycle. And this, of course, this process happens every month as we have a new moon every month. So we are releasing the work we have been doing during this moon cycle, work to understand ourselves better, work to become more powerful, more efficient, more effective, whatever you have been thinking about focusing on, whatever has been showing up in your life, right? Because those situational challenges that appear in our day-to-day lives are invitations to learn and grow and adapt, right? To figure things out as we go on our journey to more fully understand who we are and how to be ourselves in a complicated world. So we are in that letting go phase. Leo moon says, how can you let go through the experience of expression, of sharing, of sharing something that is true for you, sharing your voice, sharing art, doing some kind of creative process or project, being seen, being heard, putting something into a form that is able to be seen and heard, whether that's doing art or writing or music or dancing or whatever may be in your flow, right? But that fire energy wants to move, it wants to share something. And in the dramatic qualities that Leo brings, it is also time to have things feel big, right? To feel significant and meaningful. So, through the process of getting into our creative selves, we can also do this work of releasing, right? Releasing the work we've been doing, putting it into some sort of expressive form, right? Maybe writing or painting or whatever it is for you, something that expresses what you've been feeling, what you've been thinking about, what you've been learning or moving through. And words are not always sufficient to capture the fullness of what we are going through. So the beauty of having art and sharing art is that we can sometimes convey bigger, bigger feelings that we might be able to put into words. So, what is that for you? What are you learning, moving through, figuring out? How are you changing? How are you learning more about who you are and how to move as yourself in the world? So, some self care activities for a Leo moon. Great time to get creative, get expressive, find someone or some arena where you can share something that is meaningful to you, even if it's just with a friend, or maybe it's in a bigger public way, depending on, again, your life and where your flow is taking you. So connecting with that ability to move outwardly what you have been processing or feeling inwardly, especially over the last couple of days with the moon in Cancer, where we've focused on our feelings, our emotions, how we're moving and feeling and healing on the inside. So now it's time to turn that into something we can share, something, a way to express what is moving inside of us. So that's the Leo moon, waning crescent moon, and then for our installment number 3 on the upcoming Virgo solar eclipse. I wanted to talk today about the roles of Mars and Venus in the upcoming eclipse. And first of all, one of the reasons I'm breaking this my discussion this time about the upcoming eclipse into installments, if you will, is because the eclipse itself, the chart of the eclipse, the alignments of the planets are so fascinatingly symmetrical and complicated and just rich with symbolism and meaning and what it says. I mean, there's a lot we could dive into. It would probably take us many hours to fully really unpack or break down all the nuances, but to think about it in a nutshell, we can understand this eclipse that we're already feeling, that is exact on Sunday, September 21st, that the energy of that is bringing us a moment, a time, a feeling of transformation, of specifically what do we need to get right and how do we move forward? How do we think about the future? And what do we need to leave behind that isn't going with us? So in our first installment, I talked about the significance of this eclipse being at 29 degrees Virgo. Anaretic degree is a place of reckoning. And so there's something we need to come to terms with, something, we need to decide what to get rid of, what to release, what to let go that isn't going with us into the future we really want to step into. So what of your own baggage doesn't serve you in what you want to become or what you want to experience going forward? How can you release that? How can you support yourself to change habits and patterns, to step into something that really suits and serves you better where you are headed, right? Moving into that big new house or that more magical place that is more suited, right, what we're stepping into. Um, and there are a lot of challenges, of course. The time that we're in is surfacing a lot of the challenges that have been present, but maybe not as activated until now. So we're seeing a lot of challenges show up that are asking us, how are you going to respond to this? And so that was installment one, was talking about 29 degrees Virgo. That was Monday's video. Tuesday's video was installment number two, talking about the opposition between the sun and moon and Saturn and Neptune. So two ends of the opposition, each having two planets, and the significance of Saturn and Neptune, which really we're only scratching the surface, but that energy of Saturn is saying there's hard work. This is, if you want something, if you want that dream, if you want what you imagine, you've got to work for it. And Virgo is really about how we roll up our sleeves, get in the dirt, and do the things that need to be done. That, what does that look like for you? There are lots of different ways that can look. And it might be more personal in your, personal day-to-day life. It might be more about how you show up at your workplace, or how you make a difference in whatever sphere of influence you may have, your work, your social groups, whatever that may be, your places that you volunteer, whatever. And then, of course, it could also, be in that wider world, whatever that looks like for you. So how you are rolling up your sleeves to do the work, how in doing the work, we also have to let go of the things that are in the way that maybe we are a little attached to, right? Something that has been comfy for a very long time, like that really comfortable old worn out sofa that is in your living room, that when you're ready to move to that new house, it's like it has served me well, but it's just going to weigh me down if I take it to my new place, my new future, my new identity, right? So thinking about what that might be for yourself, how you are doing the work to do that releasing, right? Getting rid of a heavy old couch is work sometimes, right? It doesn't just magically disappear. Also thinking about habits and patterns and what is going to be, what any changes you may need to make in your own habits and patterns for your new future that you're stepping into. Okay, so as promised, I'm getting to it, right? Okay, so we have these outer planets, Pluto, Neptune, Saturn conjunct, and Uranus in basically part of a grand sextile. So two waxing sextiles with a waxing trine, meaning waxing just means that they are moving away from each other. And so that's a more creative outward energy. And this part of the cycle, the sextile, the trine, is an easy flow of energy. So you can see that there is this temptation to sit back and just kind of hope it's all going to work out, right? But this solar eclipse at 29 degrees Virgo says this is about you. It's about you being engaged, involved, active. What does that look like for you? It doesn't mean you have to do something that's not that's not you, right? There are ways to make a positive difference through being yourself, doing what you're good at, connecting with people you enjoy being with, right? It doesn't have to hurt. In fact, it's better if it's fun. And isn't work always better if it's fun, if you enjoy doing it and make it fun? So that's part of this. And today's Leo moon says, how are we going to make it fun, right? Let's make this a party. So whatever that is for you. Okay, so Mars and Venus during the eclipse. So we've got those outer planets, and I have shared about that in recent videos. I reposted one about that planetary alignment. So I won't dive deep into that today, but the positions of Mars and Venus during the upcoming eclipse are in an alignment with those three outer planets in a remarkable way that creates three YODS. What's a YOD? A YOD is a triangle that has a sextile between two planets, so 60 degrees separation between two planets, with both planets in an inconjunct, which is basically 150 degrees, so a little bit less than an opposition, from those two. Each planet has an inconjunct to a third planet. So it ends up looking like a triangle, a long, skinny, equilateral triangle. Not equilateral, but equal on two sides at least. And then the position of Mars and Venus, so that they are in a sextile with each other, both of those planets pointing toward Neptune and Saturn. So that's one YOD. Then there's a second YOD where Pluto and Neptune are pointing toward, let me make sure I get this right, pointing toward Venus. Okay, and then we've got Uranus and Neptune in a sextile, creating a third YOD to Mars. So, really fascinating alignment of energies here, especially because Mars is the planet of action, of courage, of where we need to get off our you-know-whats and do something. So Mars says, you can sit at the foot, I've said this before, you can sit at the foot of the mountain as long as you want. You're not going to get to the top until you could dream about the top, right? But you're not going to get there until you get up and start moving. So, what does that look like for you? Taking action, doing something, shaking things up, getting through your to-do list, right? Making a plan even. It's doing something. And so that energy of Mars creates one of the YODs, or two of them. It's because it's involved in two YODs. And that is saying, again, the YOD energy says, this is something you feel the pressure to get it right. There is a feeling of it's coming, it's here, it's upon us. It's this feeling of how are we going to make sure that we don't mess this up, right? A YOD, and it's based on inconjuncts, and an inconjunct is the energy of that final chance. It's like the last chance to fix what is not right, to get it right before the door is opened, right? The curtain is drawn, something is revealed. So, and that happens with the opposition. But the inconjunct, so is that last, it's called the last chance aspect. And so with a YOD, you have two inconjuncts, definition of a YOD. And both of those inconjuncts are saying, you got to get this right. There's what is it that needs your attention and it's not impossible. It's not saying, you're going to fall off the cliff if you don't get it right. It's saying you can do this. You can do this, but you need to be conscious, and you need to be making choices with consciousness when you are showing up and asking yourself, right? Yeah, that's all it really takes is to check in with yourself. Am I on track? Am I doing things that are true and right for me? Where do I need to make some adjustments or shift my way of being or think about something differently? And if we take that moment to check in with ourselves and ask, what can I change? What can I adjust that will make something even better? So you think about, and an inconjunct is really aligned with Virgo energy as well, because Virgo has kind of that inconjunct relationship to, um, it's connected to the sixth house. Anyway, you can, if you're following me, you're following me. But at any rate, it is both are that energy of needing to get something right. So think about how when you are cleaning, Virgo is great um, uh, energy archetype of, bringing order, restoring order and cleanliness. So how do you make something clean? You see what is not clean. And when you can see what is not clean or not right or not the way it should be, when you can see it, you can fix it. So if you can see where the dirt is on the floor, you can clean it, right? That is just at a really basic level. And I've been talking about the broom, the magic broom, and witchcraft and magic and all that. So just the simplicity, the simple action of using a broom to sweep your floor um, restores order, right? It brings cleanliness, it changes space, it changes energy, it changes how you feel, even, right? Think about how you feel after you've cleaned something versus before you've cleaned it or made it work or fixed it or whatever, right? So the ability to restore order or fix something or make it the best it can be really is the most effective when we can see what is wrong. When we can see what is wrong, we can fix it. When we can see the dirt, we can remove it, right? So why is Virgo so nitpicky or can see like really all the details? It's because it is doing that final cleaning or clearing or repairing or improving to make something ready, right? This is the last chance. So you better be able to see what is not working so that you can fix it. So that energy of Mars in a yod is really saying, what kind of actions do you need to take? Where do you need to make adjustments in how you think about the way you move, the way you're taking action? Are you doing something? Are you going in the right direction? Should you be doing something differently? It's just an opportunity to check in with yourself, come into that consciousness of asking yourself, what is true and right for me? Where is something wrong or out of place? How can I fix it? Because that is what will help me to make something better to where it needs to be so that we can get on with the work of shaping the world in the way we really want to see it unfold. Okay, so that's Mars, action. And Mars is in Libra, uh, asking us to restore balance, justice. So themes of how we are different, right? Is that not surfacing right now? Themes of where we are different, where we see things differently, how we don't agree, right? How like different perspectives and what that can bring, and so on. So asking yourself, how can I think about balance in a way that helps to us to come into a place of healing that helps move something in the direction of peace, right? Maybe you're not going to achieve world peace, right, in the next moment. But what you can do is you can ask yourself, how can I be my best self in a way that helps me find common ground with others, come on to a place of where we can at least, agree on something or move something in a direction together. How can we cooperate, right? And you won't be able to do that with all people, but where are the places where you can make an adjustment to be more effective in being who you need to be to bring about, to move something in the direction of peace, of ability to get along, ability to problem solve together, right? Big things in our world right now. Okay, and then Libra, Mars is in Libra, right? Balance, justice. What is the best way? How can we make adjustments to be more in alignment with creating peace, who we need to be to participate in a more peaceful world? And how can we individually do that, right? Show up personally ourselves in ways that support that. And then Libra is ruled by Venus. Venus is also, as I mentioned, in this yod with Mars, so in a sextile with Mars, forming a yod to Neptune, and by conjunction also Saturn. So that yod there, and the Venus part of it, Venus is in Virgo. So we have this theme repeating of Virgo energy. What do you need to get right? Where do you need to notice the details? Where do you need to attend to something to aesthetically? So Venus is about where we see and experience beauty, value, what brings us pleasure, happiness. So Venus in Virgo says getting things right also makes us feel good. And how can we think about what we need to do in a way that feels good sooner rather than later, right? We want to create a kind of world to live in that feels, maybe more comfy, a little less activated and challenging, shall we say, than the way the world is right now. But how can you do that right now, today, in this moment? How can you find a way to shift into something that feels good, that feels in alignment with your values, that supports things that you want to receive, right? I mean, we talk about Venus superficially. Everybody wants money, right? Venus is about money. Why do we want money? We want money because we want that value. We want the things that money can get us. So, how can you think about your life and what you value? And where can you make adjustments? Where can you let go of something to get it out of the way so that you are stepping more fully into what feels valuable to you on many levels? So, and getting more um, on the spiritual level, right? What do you value on the spiritual level? And what feels good and true and right? And what can you do or adjust in your life to create more of that feeling? And that is one of the things that this solar eclipse at 29 degrees Virgo is inviting us to do, to feel into what we want, how we want things to be, how we want to feel, and to look at our own ways that we invest or don't invest in creating that in our everyday lives. How can we make a change, an adjustment, let go of something that doesn't serve us, and or figure out where we could take action, make some adjustments around how we are thinking about our actions, our choices, and our decisions. And Mars in Libra says, I could do this, I could do that. So, but how can you be a little bit more decisive and move in the direction you want to go that energetically supports things that feel important and meaningful to you? So, thanks for hanging in there with me for that. Sometimes moving through diving deeper into these energies requires a lot of unpacking. So I appreciate your staying with me for that. And I would say that again, to summarize in a nutshell, this solar eclipse is really inviting us to question, who have we been? What have our choices brought us? How can we make choices in a better way going forward? What do we need to take with us? What kind of habits and patterns are going to help us shift in the ways we need to shift to create the kind of balance and order and peace and justice that feels right to us? So that's what I've got for you today. Thank you so much for being here with me. And I'm Marina Orms. You can book a reading with me at astrologyheals.com for a deeper look at how this particular solar eclipse lands in your chart, what it's activating or bringing up for you, how you can think about what's coming up in your life in a way that can help you make the changes, the learning, and the growth that you're being invited to step into. So that's what I do. I support you in making changes that are healthy and happy for you, stepping into who you need to be to create the kind of life you want to have. And we do that through looking at the symbolism in your natal astrology chart. And in this case, we could look at how this uh, eclipse and the Pisces lunar eclipse are showing up for you, what kinds of themes might be coming up, and how you should think about them for your most empowered way forward. All right, thanks so much for being here. Be sure to hit the subscribe button if you are enjoying these videos. I will be back with more installments on the upcoming solar eclipse as we continue to break it down and understand what is going on in the complicated and so fascinating energies of the chart for this solar eclipse at 29 degrees Virgo on September 21st at 12:53 p.m. Pacific time. I will be here tomorrow and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.